How's it going, everybody? You guys know what time it is. As we do every single Sunday, we've got a Q&A video for y'all. We're going to be answering your guys' questions, both from the YouTube comments as well as on chat. We're hanging over at twitch.tv/Lawler, where we stream every day but Tuesday and Sunday. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to alternate. We're going to find some of the best questions that you guys have asked in the comments down below, as well as some of the ones that are over in chat. So if you would also like to have your questions answered, let me know. Comments down below. What do you have? Let me know with what you got. If you see one you really like, make sure you guys also like it so it goes to the top. Those are the ones we usually pick because they seem to be the most sought after. And then we'll try to pick some from chat as well. But with that said, let's transition to the other screen and jump into it. We're going to do this for about 10 to 15 minutes and try to get through as many as we can. The first one comes from Bamboo. What do you think of the declining RLCS views? Early regionals were getting 100K in the grand finals. EU Spring 3 had about 50K, and most have been around that or lower. Majors seem to do well, though. But does the lower regional views worry you at all, or do you think it'll bounce back at the start of next something? So I don't even think that it's a worry. I think it's just a natural concept. Like, you think at the beginning of the season, there was a 3-month break, and now it's back. All new teams, all new things to tune in for. Like, we didn't have it, right? So everybody was like, oh, shoot, I want to tune in and watch. And eventually it kind of lost its appeal when it was every single week, multiple regionals all the time. Plus, then you're talking a really long broadcast length. Like, you're talking like 20 some hours of content every weekend, and it doesn't stop. And then you see a little bit of a jump again after there's a little bit of a break between. And majors always do well because the content that's provided there, as well as the competition, is the best of the best. So I do think that at the end of this season, Psyonix is going to go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, we did some refinement this year, but it still needs a little bit more. What should we do for the formats? How should we do this to make sure that we still get the best teams progressing through, but we also make sure that people don't get burnt out and our viewership still continues to be at a place? So I do think it's not necessarily like a big concern. 50,000 is still quite a bit. It's better than most esports, honestly, but obviously they can consistently aim for 6 figures, or yeah, 6 figures would be amazing. So I do think that it is something to pay attention to, but I don't think it's as big of a concern as people should be about. Now, if majors and stuff completely seeing a decline, your big events that you're putting your all into, that's when you should worry. But I would pay attention to the Spring Major and the World Championship and see how those do. Because World Championship viewership is going to be very, very telling of if longevity for Rocket League is a thing or not. Because it's going to be a 2-week event. So that is definitely one to pay attention to. 100%. Next one, Joshua Lucas. RLCS World Championships being far less frequent now. What accolades do you think newer pros will need to achieve before they start to be compared to the greatness of the old guard like Turbo K-Dop, who dominated the old format? I think it's difficult, right? Because you're talking 2 world championships is equivalent to technically like 3 even. The difficulty is like winning the big title. Like, you can't really diminish it. Like, it's not the old pros' fault that the circuit and the format has changed. And it's tough to do comparisons before the old and the new. Obviously, winning a world championship now is harder than it's ever been. It's a very impressive accolade. And then you're also talking about the consistency that's required to get there. So I feel like when you're talking about a player's like embodiment, like their entire resume, all the work that they've done, a lot of these like majors are going to come into play, because majors are essentially equivalent to a world championship now. So I think that is going to be more important of seeing. Like, now in the past, it used to be, did you win or did you not? That's it. Because it was only like 14, 15 matches to get to Worlds. And now you're talking, you play that in a weekend. So I think consistency to the truest sense, yo, if you place top 2, top 3 your entire career for like 2 seasons, that's pretty dang impressive. So yeah, I think it's going to be more so taking a look at the full body of work rather than just like, yeah, Turbo's 1-4. No arguments whatsoever. Turbo's the GOAT. He's 1-4. So I think it's just the evolution of the conversation now that the circuit's been updated. Consistency is always the number one thing. If you're going to every major, if you're doing a bunch of different things like that, like FaZe Clan, I think is going to get a lot more credit. Like, if FaZe goes top 4 again, at all 3 majors, they went top 4. That's really impressive. So conversations like that, I think, are important. Anil, do you think the future of pros are more likely to practice in a set playstyle that plays a specific role in a team, or stick to an adaptable general playstyle that doesn't specialize in any skills? So the specialization of players is primarily based on what is instinctual to players. Certain players do adhere to certain like parameters of what they feel most comfortable in. If that's maybe set as a habitual thing from when they first started playing, maybe they were solo queuing with somebody and it just kind of fell in line where like, oh, my buddy was super aggressive, so I played a bit more passive, or, you know, maybe my shooting wasn't the greatest, so I just kind of refined and became to this one style. Most people like reactionary fit a category of playstyle that they have. But now that Rocket League is so demanding, like everybody needs to have mechanics, everybody needs to be able to recover, everybody does everything. While naturally there is intent behind this is the first person, second person, third person in rotation, everybody has to be able to do everything. And I think that's going to continue to be the way, because people have just gotten so good. Like if not everybody can hit flip resets or do all that kind of stuff, you are already seeing that. There's a team in particular that I'm thinking about that I might do a detailed video on, where you see two of their players go up and do a thing, and the other team immediately is like, oh shoot, we have to challenge it. Oh shoot, we have to do this thing. But when this third person goes up and does the thing, that same level of respect isn't garnered, and it actually kind of hurts the team a lot, and long term is going to be a big problem. So I do think in time you're going to continue to see it's not even that it's a general play style, it's just everybody's so dang good. Like everybody does everything now and has to. So what is your opinion on the custom training update as a whole? When the training update was announced, I thought of such things as programming bots to recreate shots to attempt to save them, or things such as the ability to block part of the goal, so in training you can practice placing shots. I feel like there is much as there is a lot of improvement with the ability to change and shuffle shots. This really hasn't expanded training drills themselves. I actually agree with you on that one, Nick. The training update didn't really add any new features. It was more so like a quality of life thing. A lot of the stuff that they added, like the mirroring of shots, being able to skip around and stuff, it didn't really flesh out the program to have cool things like being able to set up things that are in the way. Like I wish you could set up dummies in the way to make sure you have to shoot around them, or being able to set up a goalie to save shots like you're talking about. Those types of implementations would be really, really cool. And I think you used to be able to do those in like Alpha Console or Baka's mod. I don't remember which one. So that stuff I do think is unfortunate, but I agree with you. I think there's still a lot more that could be done, but a lot of the quality of life stuff is really, really good. Georgie, seeing as the new season has come out this time, how do you think they did with it? All we got to do, say Q&A? Oh yeah, appreciate it. So primarily, I do think the new season is actually really solid. I think the new map's great. I think Gilded Utopia Coliseum is fantastic. It's probably one of the better maps they've released since probably like Temple. I think Hidden Temple was pretty dope. I think the content within season 7 is pretty good. I think the like Rocket Pass and like the visuals and like the theme and stuff is good. I think the Maestro car is actually like desirable and people are going to want it. New paint finish, although a subtle update, is nice. It's something else to like, you know, want to get. We don't know what the anniversary update is going to be. When season 7 hits or year 7 hits, they're probably going to do something for the anniversary. I don't know if it's going to be unique game mode or if there's like a cool in-game thing that happens or an anniversary, you know, thing where it's like, hey, win these matches and then you unlock this item. Hopefully they do something a little bit more unique with that. But overall, for an update, I think they recognize last time they fell kind of short, and this time they definitely did a lot better. I think the difficulty is obviously trying to release content still that's unique and interesting, while also still trying to focus on UE5 and the transition there. So I will say, in comparison to season 6, it's a good step. It's a really good contrast of what season 6 was, because season 6 was met with a lot of down. But season 7 seems like, for what it is, like they did a pretty good job. I just think in the grand scheme of things, I always want more. I need content that I can use, play, etc. And without new game modes or anything coming, like Knockout Bash, it's kind of tough. But the realistic side is, can they pump one of those out every 3 weeks or 3 months? I don't know. I really don't know. Frisch and Frosh says, small question. Do you know why they don't share more stats post-game? Like demos, touches, etc. I know they captured all the data and they show all that stuff for RLCS, but I love to see it in my games. So those stats are in an API, but they are not displayed or programmed into the display itself. It would actually take a overhaul of the UI to show those types of stats. Many people on websites and stuff have always requested the API for Rocket League because those stats are tracked, and then you see them on like Octane and ball chasing and all that kind of stuff. Detailed stats, I think, are something that are always really cool, but you also don't want to overwhelm the player mid-series. So I think for the scoreboard, keeping it simplistic with the main things, shots, goals, assists, etc., makes perfect sense. But I would, like in a game like League of Legends, after a game of League of Legends is done, they then give you the advanced details. I think that would be really cool. I think if they did like an advanced details at the end where it gives you everything, would be pretty sweet. But then they would have to do like a post-match lobby type of thing. So I don't know how that works. Being able to go in and out of games really fast is kind of one of the exciting things about Rocket League. Well, as compared to League of Legends, you can be in a game for like 45 minutes. And then after you're done, you're like, oh, let me check how I did. Let me see the stats. Okay, let me get back in queue. So it's a little bit more of a process. Get your mind right. How much of a mental advantage do you think teams like SSG and V1 get at live events constantly barking across the stage? So we've talked about this a little bit, and I don't know if it's like constantly barking, but I do know that the reason why Calm was doing it was to take pressure off of beast mode or Landon. Landon's first LAN, obviously in his own head, a little bit nervous, and wanted to make sure all the attention and all the hatred or all the negativity was focused on him and take that big brother approach so he could protect beast mode. And that made beast mode feel a bit more comfortable and then could get into his groove, and then beast mode did, you know, Landon things. So while it is part of the mental game, how much of a, I don't know if many pros really feel it. I don't know if it, like, they just look at it and go, what a loser, or like, wow, this is ridiculous. But I don't know if it affects any teams too much, but I could be completely wrong about that. You know, maybe some teams are really affected by it. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know if it makes that big of a difference. I will say for entertainment purposes, it's awesome. Hearing Calm like talk his ish, love it. Super entertaining. I gotta know your thoughts about Nolly airing out Guild on Rizzo's podcast. Could it move or bad? I actually don't know. I didn't see this. I don't know what he said or what he had to say. If he did talk about his issues with what happened on Guild, or the fact that he was like let go and stuff, or all that kind of stuff. If he feels like he wants to make it public and talk about it, as long as he presents it in a way, like, I mean, that's entirely up to Nolly. I would have to hear what he said. So Lubu asks, what do you think is the first minor region to win an international event? I don't know if we're going to see a minor region win an international event in a very long time. I would probably give it to South America or MENA first. That's probably what I would go with. Can you give some websites that provide those small tournaments? Yeah, go to Liquipedia. Liquipedia.net/Rocket League. Right tab. Right here. Change what tier it is that displays. There you go. There's tons of them. You click on any of them, all their info. The website that it's hosted on, their Discord, if you need to get part of the conversation, that is your best friend. But Liquipedia, that's the only place I do all my stuff. Isaac Monson, has this man always been tatted? I got my first tattoo a month after turning 18 and have been getting them frequently and consistently ever since. So obviously we just finished my sleeve. We did that from November to February-ish, so it's been already like 4 months. This sleeve we did throughout all of RLCS when I was casting. It took like 3 years to get. My chest is covered. I've got a side piece. Both my calves are covered, and we're taking a little bit of a break right now because we just finished a full sleeve and they're expensive. But maybe we'll start working on the leg or something in the future. But yeah, 2 sleeves, a couple tattoos otherwise. But yeah, tattoos have been aplenty ever since I was given the A-OK by my old boss to do them. So yep, lots of tattoos. Last question, which is in relevance to one of the other questions. Fruit, if viewership indeed does start to drop for worlds or majors, what do you think they need to change to bring back viewers? I do think personally there is a lack of personable content in Rocket League. I think that things like when you have an up and coming pro, right? You have Daniel. Everybody's talking about Daniel. Everybody knows Daniel's the most sought after free agent, all that kind of stuff. The fact that there is no sit down conversation or interview with Daniel for when he debuts in the RLCS, I think is a huge miss. And like, these don't even need to be displayed on the broadcast. They could be done on Twitter, Instagram, other social platforms. So I think having more candid moments, showcasing the personalities, building up these pros to be the celebrities that they are, will help in theory get people more invested and then kick that viewership back. Because you look at the reach that people like apparently Jack has garnered since starting his YouTube channel, but that's through his own volition. The esports staff of Psyonix has always been small. I think they need to expand it to the best of their ability, and I'm sure they're trying, but expand it and find ways to dedicate a team to go and make that type of content. And I think you will see these celebrities hit like the Call of Duty status, the Valorant, anything Riot puts out, like it'll be there. Because you can't just rely on organizations. Like the K-Corp players have blown up significantly just because K-Corp fans go hard. But you can't have that as an expectation, you know? So I think some of that stuff is really important. Finding ways to incentivize teams to pump out more content, do more things, or, you know, maybe by expanding the events a little bit, they then have more time for media day type stuff. Because we all know like media day content for LAN is probably one of the best things. Seeing those fun little skits and all that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that makes majors special. So being able to do that throughout the entire season, an all-star event where you can, this is stuff I've been pushing since mid-season mayhem stuff. So I think building up these pros to be true celebrities within the space is really important. That's probably my idea. But we've been talking nonstop for 2.5 hours, and primarily for this Q&A video for a good 10-15. So that is going to use up the time for today's Q&A video. As always, if you guys do have questions or any of that kind of stuff, please let me know in the comments down below, or stop by the stream, twitch.tv/Lawler. Come hang out with us. It is greatly appreciated that it has been over a year. We've been doing this for 52 weeks at least, which is, I think, so special. The fact that you guys every single week still ask questions and want to know stuff just based upon my opinion, which is pretty crazy. So seriously, appreciate you guys and gals over the year. Continuing to ask questions about this stuff ever since we started doing it. It's easily one of my favorite videos of the week, just because we get to be candid and answer questions that you guys are curious about. So with that said, that's today's video. If you guys enjoy the content, as always, continue to keep asking questions. We'll keep doing these. Like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. It helps out the video greatly, as well as your comments down below. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.